everyone. I'm Anthony along with Chris today, and this is the 33rd episode of Hard Knock Hawks. And this is the podcast where we talk about our favorite team, the Atlanta Hawks, and sometimes other stuff in the NBA too. It's been a minute since we last uploaded an episode, and we have a wide range of topics to discuss. Um, Leon isn't here, and Marco isn't here today. They are busy today, so it's just gonna be me and Chris today. But we have, like I mentioned earlier, we have a wide range of topics to discuss. So we're gonna be going in right away by talking about some awards that some Hawks players received. And the two awards we're mainly gonna really be talking about. Well, I mean, not two awards, excuse me, but the two players we're gonna be talking about that received awards are going to be Zaccharie Risacher and Dyson Daniels. For Risacher received first team All Rookie with 199 out of 200 votes. He was voted almost unanimously for that award. And Dyson Daniels won a highly contested award for Most Improved Player and was named first team All Defense with other defensive players like Evan Mobley, who won Defensive Player for the Year, who, by the way, Dyson Daniels was second place for that. Draymond Green, Lou Dort, and Amen Thompson. So generally, it's been a good minute since any Hawk players won any kind of awards. What is your general thoughts on this, Chris, for the most part?
I mean, it's great for the team, right? I know like morale in a group is big when anybody gets some recognition because it means there's at least a few eyes on you, at least on your box scores. I know it was important for the team to get Zach that. I think that's like they felt like that was probably a team accomplishment. The same thing for Dyson in terms of getting him uh the awards he got, but yeah, Zach he had a big year for coming over to a new country, right, getting used to a new team, people he's never met before, and kind of hit the ground running, right, as a rookie. Got forced into some big minutes early, and I think the way he had some big games throughout the year kind of solidified his spot in all rookie kind of early. I think he had that locked up with the way the rest of that class looked. He was one of the guys that was really contributing early, and all did it all season, right? He had a starting job from day 3 through 82. So I think it was a big accomplishment for Zach to do what he did. I mean, it takes a level of consistency on one end or the other, at least, right? He was a really good defender for a rookie, and definitely one of the better shooters in his class. So it was a big dub for the Hawks, for Zach getting that acknowledgement.
Yeah, and especially for Dyson, I think Dyson is probably the big surprise player of really everything when you look at it. Even I couldn't predict how much Dyson has improved over the past year, generally speaking. He has, surpassed everyone's expectations defensively and especially offensively as well. He's just played such a big role with his like floater and his ball handling and how he just managed to just step up, especially with Jalen being injured. It's I think it's gonna be very interesting to see how he's gonna develop, especially we don't when the team may not be able to have like a true second option if they're not able to get one this offseason. What do you think about that, Chris?
Yeah, I was really excited for Dyson to come over just because of what he brought defensively to begin with. I knew he was one of the better point of attack defenders in the league, and in a smaller role in New Orleans. Um, I don't think anyone knew what he could really do on the NBA floor offensively. I don't know that he really had the freedom to do too much in the system he was in before, given all the big time scores above him. But then coming here, I think he got thrust into a much bigger role than maybe he even anticipated. I'm sure he was looking forward to it. I have this whole theory about basketball players being running backs, right? Because running backs, if they get opportunity, they get yards, right? And Dyson got opportunity, he got the ball, and he was scoring, right? When in ways people weren't expecting. I think most people expect maybe 10 or so a game just because he was getting more minutes. But I think he pushed that 14 to 15. I think if they had played another 20 games in the season, he would have been a little bit higher. I think his confidence was growing. He and Zach and these other guys got a lot of chance to really stretch their legs with Jalen out, right? Trey didn't have a go-to guy, so the ball was moving between whoever could really take it that night. And I think Dyson really took advantage of that opportunity. The drives were coming more and more frequently. I think he was kind of figuring his game out some. So it's gonna be huge to see, or it's gonna be fun to see what he can do in the future. And if he can take some strides, that'll be big. Even small improvements from where he was this season will be big for this team. Just Dyson was so productive last year. I think he did so much of or a little bit of everything, and a lot in some other areas. The steals, rebounding better than I think anyone really
Yeah.
expected. So yeah, he can be a really, really. You need those glue guys, but I think he even brings a little bit more in terms of how much he can impact the game. So that's a big player for the Hawks. I hope they can lock him up for a while. I think he and Trey are a nice backcourt duo. And yeah, that's he was a great fit. And yeah, the MIP is huge in the NBA. That they usually give it to some All Star. So the fact that he got that away from Cade was big, given the
Yeah.
season that Cade had. I conceded it to Cade because
And and for the past few years, it's generally been people were generally thinking or considering MIPS people a way for you know players that the NBA media considered to be all-star caliber players
hmm
to key that's their award for what people consider to just basically be all-star caliber players. That's you know what they give it to basically, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
for Dyson to get that award, that means a lot now, right? you
yeah,
you
yeah,
you see him, and now people may think of see Dyson as okay, now you have this potential all-star. Not well, I don't know if we're at that level yet, but you have this potential big piece that could help elevate this team further than what we ever had before.
yeah.
And it's just huge generally.
Well, and with some injury luck, the Hawks might have had two guys win MVP back or MIP back to back
Yep. Uh-huh.
years, and Jalen
With
Johnson and
Jalen.
Dyson. It's definitely a big launching pad for players, right? You get your name out there, and people were recognizing your game. So it's something Dyson can really use to push forward. And if he does what he's talking about doing, yeah, he can definitely put himself in that All Star category. If he has the season he's planning to have, the Hawks will be a better team, and he and Trey might be there together. For the Hawks to have two All Stars, they're probably gonna be a good team. So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens there. But no, just if for me, if Dyson just finds some consistency, figures out how to do what he did last season more efficiently and a little bit better year over year, I think that's a really, really good player who likely will be an All Star. With the stats he had, I mean, they wanted to give it to Derek White a few times, right, already, and I don't know that his numbers are too much crazier than where Dyson's are now. So yeah, he can definitely put himself in that, like, if not an all-star, like right outside the top 25, right, 30, 35 range. So yeah, he's on his way.
um Before we move on to the next segment, I mentioned that Evan Mobley won Defensive Player of the Year and Dyson Daniels was second. Would you think, or I should rephrase it, do you think Dyson Daniels should have won Defensive Player of the Year? Now, personally, in my opinion, I think he should have won Defensive Player of the Year because, yes, even though the Hawks were the eighth seed, what Dyson Daniels done with steals, being one of the best defenders from a matchup standpoint, I think it's obvious his defense is one of the most impactful in the entire league. And I'm not discrediting Evan Mobley at all. He's obviously a great defender, but I think Evan Mobley really benefits from being on an incredibly good defensive team and playing with players like Jared Allen, Isaac Okoro, players like that that really just boost those teams' defense. I mean, the team's defense. What do you think, Chris?
No, I agree. He definitely has an argument, right? If this were baseball or football, and Dyson were some center fielder or cornerback who had like the level of defensive playmaking that he had, their team success wouldn't matter, right? No one cares if you're on a bad defense. If you get 20 interceptions in a season, you're probably going to have a chance to be Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL. Same for center fielder. If you're robbing home runs, throwing people out, and you save the most defensive runs in baseball, you have a good chance to be the Gold Glove guy, the Platinum Glove guy. The issue in basketball is that so much of our voting is tied up in results based team stats, and to an extent I do understand it, but mostly because I grew up in this voting environment, so it's like ingrained in me, right, to look at the good defense and say like the best defender on the good defense should be Depoy, or bigs are so integral in having a good defense, right? So it's hard for me to knock Mobley um, for being a part of a good defense. He's a big part of that, right? But Dyson's playmaking was just kind of on another level this year, and I think the fact that everybody knows that if the Hawks had been a good defense, right, or they were a winning team and had a good he would have walked away with the Depoy.
Yeah.
With all the stocks, he was just that productive on like a crazy level, and I don't know that Evan Mobley as a shot blocker was really that dominant. Don't get me wrong, I do love Evan Mobley. I had him and Cade. I have stock in both of them. I really did like those guys, and they had really big seasons. I think they both kind of started to break through. I think Mobley still probably has more that he needs to figure out to really get to that next level. But this was a big season for him defensively. But no, Dyson just did so much. Just the steals were crazy, man. Like the 6 steal games, like the list of guys who had like the most steals in a game this season was just like Dyson Daniels, and I think Kelly Oubre had like some random like 5 or 6 steal game, and it's like the only other guy is not Dyson on that list. And like the distance between, it was like Dyson and then SGA, right? But then it's like the distance between those two is the same as the distance between SGA and like number 287 in steals. Like he
Yeah.
was historically head and shoulders above everybody else. So um I think Dyson definitely had a real argument. He really got beat by the fact that our team wasn't one of the better ones in the league. It's a big man's award. I think honestly it's almost a win just to be a guard and be second. So um I know there's no moral victories in sports, but that's one that I think he really did appreciate, and I'm glad he did get MIP because he lost out on the Depoy. 'Cause I think he
Yeah.
deserved it.
Yeah, I think he did such a great job this season considering everything. I think he 100% deserved it. And we got a surprise here. Leon has joined he back here, not back here, excuse me, joined here with us. And we're gonna start actually talking about the NBA playoffs. It's been a minute since we talked about the playoffs, but we are currently seeing a matchup. Though I mean, excuse me, the Western Conference Finals are all done. The Thunder have emerged as victorious, but the Eastern Conference is not done. Well, they could be almost done, but the Pacers lead the New York Knicks 3-2. The Pacers are going back home with the lead in the series. It's an interesting series. The Knicks won game 5 in a blowout. I'm going to ask you, Leon, what's your thoughts on the playoffs so far? And what have you seen that's interesting for the most part for the Hawks perspective?
Just the level of physicality. in the playoffs is really important. The size and the skill, especially amongst front court players, and not just the remaining teams, but just like the last eight, even the the semifinal teams. You're looking at guys that make teams, whether that be a all defensive team, all stars, guys that can create their own shot, elite rebounders, shot blockers, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, even obviously Jalen Williams, Chet, Ihart, Miles Turner, and Pascal. Like I was talking to somebody a couple days ago, and if you really think about it, like Miles Turner and Pascal is one of the better shooting front courts in the NBA, like starting 4 or 5. Um, Especially when you consider Miles Turner's volume. So just that, you know, I think age synchronization is something that I've been looking at recently. It's just something that seems to work more long term. Um, and we kind of have a wide-ish range if you include Trey in our core, but um, it's clear that what the Hawks lacked, right, last season is a physical finisher around the rim, especially when Jalen wasn't on the floor, because Jalen is a really, really good finisher around the rim. Um, Probably not, he borderline all-star level, right? But you got to have multiple guys who can do that, and we only had the one last year, really, with Clint on his last legs and whatnot. You just have to have true size and physicality at multiple positions. I think even the Pacers like aren't viewed as a super physical team, but I think they win more with their pace of play and their speed overall. But they do have some physical players like Pascal Siakam, like Andrew Nembhard is extremely physical guard at the point of attack, defending and on offense. So, you know, it's going to be a fun finals, regardless of if the Knicks get there or not. I expect the Pacers to go ahead and close this baby out. But man, it's hard in the NBA right now, man. Team building is hard. Chris?
No, yeah. I do agree team building's hard. It's the level of players is better, but it's kind of flat, so teams have to really be intentional, I think, with what they're doing. And part of the issue with some of the teams in the NBA is that they're not playing to their strengths all the time. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Pacers are playing so well is that they really do have a identity. I don't know if it probably does come from their scheme, right? It gives them something to fall back on, something to go to at all times, or at least try to. They have a goal that they all understand, and to your point about their speed, right? I think that they use that really well with their scheme, right? They move a lot, and I think that is that's something NBA teams aren't used to defending. This team in New York is used to playing a lot of 5 out guys, and now you have a team in Indiana that's moving around and it's really occupying a lot of their defenders. They have Pascal, so they can't just throw link that Hallie all game, and they're ending up in situations where they can't put their best defender on him enough, and he's able to create for his team, and they know what they're trying to do, and they're moving, and it's tough for New York to stop them. And I think styles make fights, and I think you're seeing a team in Oklahoma City have some success because they can be so adaptable because of the way they play. That there's a saying, defense travels, right? And the way they defend, they can match up basically everybody. You saw them go up against Joker, who's like the best offensive center ever. And they were putting Alex Caruso on him for a few games. They had Jalen Williams on him, playing him physical for a few games, right? And you got Chet always around blocking shots. Like the way they can throw so much at you, and really keep you on your toes. They can adapt to anything you want and then force you to maybe even try to adapt to them multiple times in a series, in a game. Like that's just so much to deal with from OKC standpoint. And then offensively, they have those two drivers who can really, really generate some offense consistently because of the way they can finish through contact. They're physical players, to Leon's point, right? Shea's not like some big bruising guy, and I know people call him a foul baiter, but in order to get fouls, man, you got to generate contact or create contact, and he's one of the best guys at doing that and getting you in bad positions and taking advantage of it. Jalen Williams is like weird strong, man. People just bounce off of him, and he's like not a guy that even has like a handle where he's like Kyrie crossing you up. He's just got like a tight right hand, and you come and bounce off of him, and then he's got an open lane to the rim, and he takes advantage of that stuff. They have a really
You
strong
remember
team.
you
Yeah.
remember Bo Scarborough,
Um.
running back Alabama, huge, never popped
Oh
in the
yeah,
NFL.
yeah.
That's Jalen Williams.
Yeah, no, he's got that low center of gravity, big build. Like guys really like he's quick enough to get you out of position, and he's way too strong for you to get back in position. And he's got a nice jumper, hits you with enough counters. Right, they have two guys that really, and then Chet, what he can do offensively at his size is crazy. I think the Timberwolves got exposed again. Their guys took some steps forward and they tried to bring in another creator in Julius Randle, but I think he just wasn't enough for them. I think like you're saying, team building is hard, man. You can bring in really good players and get to the postseason and realize you still don't have enough. And I think they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. There's gonna be some movement this offseason. I think some teams got shocked and some teams got shook up. Cleveland might run it back. They have a lot of really good players that.
I don't know if they're going right back.
Oh no, what do you mean, man? They got their big deadline acquisition last year.
No.
You know, they're gonna get ready. They're making videos together and stuff. They're gonna start DeAndre Hunter at the 3 and
No, I
run it back.
Maybe the 2 also. He can play some too.
I'm seeing
You're
as
hilarious.
funny as much as y'all say that. I'm seeing tweets from Cavs fans saying that they need a starting caliber 3, and it's like, did you just trade for Hunter? And I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about
Like-
today's NBA. Everybody wants the same players, so they're all competing. They all like, and they're not all necessarily playing the exact same style, but they all kind of want to accomplish a lot of the same things. And I think because of that, you're looking for guys that all do like, oh, we all want the shooting, the big wing 3 that can defend the 3 and shoot the 3. And I think you can fall into a trap playing that way. I think that's how Indiana snuck through, man. They got their guys that fit what they wanted to do exactly, and they like this is like they're might end up in the finals because of it.
Yeah.
So I think teams kind of leaning into what they really do has been what I've seen has led to the most success in this postseason. But yeah, a lot of it is just being able to play physical with everybody, because that's really the difference maker in the NBA, man. It's a grown man's league, and the guys that are strong tend to have their way. Now, I mean, you have the Joker, right? He ran into Alex Caruso and couldn't get by, but Caruso is like probably really strong for his size too, right? So yeah, that's the big thing, man. You gotta have some size, you gotta have some strength, but I think you also have to have some creativity and some self-awareness. You need a well-coached team. There's I think Dagnall and Carlisle have done a crazy job, like with their groups. I think they're probably playing the best basketball in the NBA, especially right now. I think they probably have consistently, at least in Indiana's case, since like the start of the new year. They've been just crazy. OKC all year, so it might end up being those two teams, and they're probably playing the best basketball. So yeah, I think you might see some teams change up their formulas, because this isn't two teams that are 5 out chucking it. I mean, OKC spreads it out some, but I mean, Shea and J-Dub trying to get to the rim.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, for the Pacers and Knicks series, I think it was really interesting to see how they defended Halliburton, especially in Game 5, because they really amped up their ball pressure a lot more, and that just completely just really just made Halburn uncomfortable, basically, right? And you just saw what happened. He was just basically unable to really do anything. And you saw the memes and stuff on social media. And I'm wondering how the Pacers are just going to be able to just counteract that, or is this just going to be a problem in the series going forward, basically? Because if they're not basically going to be able to counteract that, then I don't know if the Pacers are even going to win at that point, because it's just, are they going to be able to just have a consistently smooth flowing offense? Because, Halliburton's like the main engine, basically. And at that point, you're just going to be relying on someone like Siakam, mid ranges and stuff like that. And that's not go so well, basically. But then you have someone like the Knicks, where you have like Brunson, who generally been not the best in the series, especially defensively. And the Pacers have basically been picking on him defensively the whole time. And it's just, it's a really interesting series when you think about it, right? So I'm just, that game 6 is going to just be, I'm really interested to see what the Pacers game plan is, honestly. And for the Thunder, I expected the Thunder for the most part to win if they were actually able to. I say if they were actually able to beat the Nuggets. They beat the Nuggets. What am I saying? But I think my main fear with the Thunder was that, for whatever reason, I just felt the Thunder performed, their offense was not as good as I thought it would be. But then again, the Nuggets have been together for like such a long time. They they play well together. Like, they know how to defend well in the playoffs, basically, right? So I kind of expected maybe that underperformance, but maybe I expected their offensive process to basically be better than I thought it was. But I don't know if you guys will probably disagree with me on that. I could think, but I don't think it
Okay,
probably.
I mean, you said a couple things.
Yeah, go
Um,
ahead.
First thing, when it comes to like the Pacers specifically, I think you're going to see them run more actions where Siakam starts with the ball
Yeah,
and
Hmm.
Tyrese is the secondary. Have them coming off some screens and stuff to get into their actions. I'm sure Rick gonna draw something up. Rick's a great coach. Rick Carlisle's a
Hmm.
great
yeah,
coach.
uh-huh.
Yes.
So, you know, those Siakam win middies have won them a couple games. Like he got 39 a couple games ago off mini and midi.
Yeah, and they'll be at
Was
home
you?
too.
Yeah, I mean, role players play better at home, and also,
That's
Hey,
you
true.
know,
That's
Howie
true.
might
and
light it up
also,
then.
and
That's
also,
true.
Sorry,
the stars get to their spots better on at home too,
and they
so to
get more
speak.
calls.
That's always nice. Oh, that feels good. So, what were you talking about? Okay, see, okay, so like it's really interesting when it comes to Oklahoma City because we're in this era of analytics and everybody's like, okay, you want paints and point paints and paint points and threes, dunks and threes, we call them. But how do you truly achieve that in the most efficient way possible? Because obviously you want to get to the line, you want to, you know, not shoot as many threes. You want to be able to play defense as well, right? So I think what Chris said was interesting is like they have these two drivers that don't take a
Yeah,
lot of threes, and those are the guys who are generating a lot of their paint points, whether that be, you know, them getting to the paint, scoring, dishing it off to the paint, and those guys scoring. Like that's where a lot of those paint points are coming from, and obviously they're doing a lot of kicking it out too. So it's kind of an interesting contrast to a team like the Prime Warriors, where you had where you had obviously the Splash Brothers, where their two main guys were shooting 23s a game together for most of their prime. And the secondary guys were, shooting threes too, pre KD, of course. But obviously they were shooting most of them. And everybody else was just kind of passing the ball, finishing at the rim. If you got an open three, you take it. Uh, And I think that's just a really interesting. Obviously, both teams historically good defenses at different points in their runs. Obviously, the young Thunder are just starting. Um, It's just I think the Pacers overall put on a clinic in team building in the past couple of years. They haven't made a bad move in like forever. Um, I think they traded up to get Jarris Walker over Bilal Coulibaly. And is that right? I could be wrong. It might be the other way around. But I don't know. Like Jarris isn't playing a lot, but like Jarris is good at basketball. I think he'll figure it out. Um, Nemhard, obviously, I can't say enough about him. But a lot of tying it back to the Hawks. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, what do the Hawks need?" We've always said what they need, but like the things we're trying to acquire are difficult to acquire. Like, yes, if you're very much on the Pascal Siakam's about to go to the finals and we could have had him, maybe we could have had him. Maybe Kobe
Solid bait on
Buffkin.
Twitter.
Like, come on, bro. Maybe Kobe Buffkin is the only reason on God's green earth. Quentin Snyder and Landry Fields and everybody in the Hawks organization's love of Kobe Buffkin is the only reason Pascal Siakam is not a Hawk and we are in the Eastern Conference Finals right now, wrapping it up,
That's what I
getting
heard.
ready to play OKC. That's the only reason why. That's what y'all have led me to believe, and it's just not that simple. They made better moves in a bunch of different areas than we did, and I
And
don't know,
they
man. I'm
and
scared of what
basically
the Hawks finna do this summer, man. I'm getting nervous again.
and all their draft picks are playing really well. Like,
Yeah, I
and they
mean, yeah,
drafted
basically everybody but Jerish is like great. Pretty
You
much
also have a good
everybody
coach,
they
and
drafted.
I
Well,
think a big reason for that is the coaching, man, on both sides. I don't think it's a surprise that like we're like these two teams draft well, or maybe they're just really well coached and they get the most out of their group, right? Because that's
yeah.
a big part of coaching.
I mean, it's probably a little bit of both. I think they're like they're not mutually exclusive.
No, I agree. I don't think you can do one without the other.
Yeah, and it has to be both. Like it's never one or the other.
Yeah.
You
And,
know,
and to your point about like the Denver versus OKC and like their offensive process, I think what
Yeah.
just makes it tough for OKC is so much of their offense does come from their transition game
Yeah.
because their
That's
defense is like
yeah.
amazing. But Denver is so good at slowing it down, and Joker is going to slow it down on you if he feels like you're going to try to run on them. So he did a good job of like containing them himself, just the way they run their offense. They're not going to take like a lot of
yeah,
bad shots
but
unless
see,
they
like
give it
that
to
was so
MPJ.
tiring for him though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he had to do everything.
Like that was so exhaustive for him.
He had to do everything.
And it's funny enough, like obviously they made the Western Conference semifinals and the Hawks didn't make the playoff. But that's a team that doesn't really have a second creator. Obviously, they've got like Jamal Murray, who
Tons
can
of
create off the
shot.
dribble better than anybody on the Hawks, not named Trae Young, and Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook, same, Aaron Gordon, same.
I mean, he's
But
just
they don't have a true second guy. They don't have a true second guy.
yeah,
Not
he's a
really.
foe. He's a foe too.
Who's the foe to? Jamal Murray?
Yeah.
Yeah, their real two is
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon in the playoffs, if you're keeping it in the band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Hawks need somebody else who can create offense, man. That's just one thing on the list. Like there is no one thing that's gonna propel the Hawks into contention.
Yeah, they need a few
Unless
things.
I mean, yeah, it's more than one thing. Unless you're just saying everybody we drafted in the past 4 years that's still on the team becomes an all-star. We'll be contenders then.
It's gonna be
Other
expensive.
than that, like you're gonna have to do that this year, draft an all-star this year, or make some moves, man, or both. I mean, that quietly, that's what good teams do. Like, oh man, they're like, oh, they're so lucky they drafted this guy and he's an all-star, and they also went and got this. They also traded for this guy who that's OKC, right? They draft
Yeah.
Jalen Williams. 2 summers later, they trade for Alex Caruso, right? And now they're in the finals. I wanted Caruso on this team. People told me I was tripping. People said he
Man,
couldn't
for
shoot.
years. Guy makes winning plays, and his jumper got better. It's amazing what happens when guys are like
Go to the
confident about
Chicago
their
Bulls
playing
for a
time.
while and get their
Yeah.
shit off.
Well, that's it. When I
Is
was
that
just gonna
what you
say,
about
like
to
he
say?
knows he's gonna get a lot of minutes, and when guys are comfortable and they get to take a few threes, like if you're gonna hit 4 threes, you got to shoot a lot of threes, right? People don't really understand that. Like, no, you ain't going 4 for 4. Like, it's really tough. You got to
You're
get
probably
them
not. Yeah.
things up if you're trying to hit a lot of threes, and for a player to just get them up, it takes a lot of confidence, a lot of freedom, and a lot of that comes from the
It's so
coach and
funny,
understanding your
bro.
role. So
If you go like 4 for 10 from three, people like will act like you like were chucking.
yeah,
But if you shoot 40% from three,
you're elite.
exactly. It's just funny how that works
You're gonna
sometimes.
see 6 misses, and they're like, "Dang, he missing a lot." You can't hit all 4 of them in the beginning, or else they're gonna like stop shooting.
Yeah.
That was actually the perfect segue to our final little segment.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. What's the next second?
it was we're gonna actually talk about a tweet about what Marco tweeted about
Oh
a few
boy.
days ago.
I'm not here to defend his own
I
baby,
know, but he gave me permission
as
to
he
do
should.
this. But so Marco made a tweet a few days ago that about 3 pathways that the Hawks could do for this offseason, and I'm gonna name all 3 of them if you haven't heard about them. So the 3 pathways
Hmm.
are: 1, get a big name second option next to Trey. 2, get a solid 20 point per game that can play off Trey and Jalen. Or 3, go all in on depth and hope Jalen stays healthy. So I want to ask you all, what do you guys think is the most realistic option out of all these 3? And do you think we can even achieve any of the other options, even if you like choose one of them, basically? And you can go ahead and start, Chris.
The most realistic option of those 3 is probably the cheapest option of those 3, and that would be option 3. Where they just go for depth, and see what the guys can do, and then maybe you see what manifests at the deadline. It's not very fun, and it's risky. Your team is young, right? So you can kind
Yeah.
of anticipate some growth, but you don't know who's going to be what.
I mean,
The
by the way, first time I think in years that both that both teams in the finals may not be paying the tax. And you
Yeah,
know how
yeah.
Tony Wrestler will be feeling about that.
Well, in today's NBA, yeah, you have to be smart. And yeah, Tony's caution uh, kind of put them in a good position with where the CBA is. But I was going to say that if I were going to choose one, I would probably choose number 1. Obviously, you get a big name. I'm a big Zion guy. But I'm not opposed to 2, honestly. A nice 20 point per game guy that can come in and give the team some consistent offense and raise the floor and the ceiling simultaneously. That'd be great. That's kind of what this team needs, especially with where their young guys are. You need someone that can lighten everyone's load and kind of is the same thing Dyson did for them defensively is what they kind of need somebody to do for them offensively, and kind of make everything easier, put everyone in a better position to play to their best abilities. Leon.
The question is, what was the most realistic of those 3 options?
Yes.
So, much to the chagrin of many NBA fans, the most likely outcome is always stand pat. It's always the most likely outcome. I'm sorry. Like, oh, this team went in on the star. This team, yes, stars get traded. But more often than not, right? There's 30 teams in the NBA, they all have an offseason. They stand pat. So that's the most realistic. If the question is, what would I do? I do all 3. I'd go for the big name, build on the depth, and get another 20 score so that we can go to the finals. But that's probably not going to happen either. So for me, um, I think the order of operations is that in the way in which it was laid out. You need to try to go for a big name. You need to have a plan B, and you need to have a plan C as far as building out your depth. it's interesting when you really think about it. Is the Hawks very well could draft two guys, sign center X, whoever, and that like low key be the roster for next season. Like that could happen, right? And if that happens, excuse me, either you're not playing either of the rookies or Terrence Mann, Georgie Yang, and Karis LeVert on my backup 2 through 4. So
Uh,
so I don't really think that can happen personally. Unless like you take the Rockets formula and say our offseason is gonna be Steven Adams. Which, you know, uh, Steven Adams in the draft. I mean, okay, I wouldn't be sick to my stomach if you draft players that I don't hate. But Chris is like you got to get a second guy for Trey. Everybody who sees it that way, I can't argue with you. I think it's everybody who says, "Well, they went and got DeJounte." I don't think that that is a valid argument. I think that having watched what you watched and knowing what you should know about basketball, I don't even think saying I don't even think saying the Trey had DeJounte is even like I don't even think that's part of the equation. Honestly, I just think it's if anything, it's a mistake that was made, and it's not anything to like we should not be championing that as something that we miss at all. So somebody over 6'9" who knows how to get his own shot, 6'7" at least, like please. So you're probably gonna have to settle for somebody a little bit shorter though.
Yeah, I do quickly want to echo. You can't have DJ PTSD. Like the whole point of getting picks back and trying to get out of that is to eventually try to make a move to get. You're gonna have to do something eventually. I mean, yeah, obviously you can draft an all-star. Someone can pop up out of nowhere,
We
but
should draft an all-star. Yep.
yeah,
Says every team.
yeah.
It all starts with drafting. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you look at like OKC, right? Chet went number 2, J-Dub went number 12, and J-Dub is the All NBA All-Star, All Defense guy this year, and Chet has like
Oh
played
shit.
half the games in his career. So you never
Mhm.
know like who's going to be like the superstar when you draft them, right? You just want to get good players that kind of fit what you do, and so you can maximize that, and then you get that's how you get a J-Dub. Um, but yeah, if you don't have one, get one. And then if someone becomes J-Dub, here's the thing. You can trade that guy, right? And then you can keep doing things, right? You're not like married to him. If Jalen becomes like if you bring in someone and Jalen actually becomes LeBron James, you can just trade that guy. And now we can get even better. You know what I'm saying?
all right. Yeah. I'm
That's
just
legit what you have to do.
yeah.
Like that's literally like people are like, oh, we gotta do the OKC thing. See, here's the thing about the OKC thing. The OKC thing is a continuous cycle of doing so, right? But you have to hit, and it all starts with drafting well. Like if you don't draft well, and you have to draft well like in clusters.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have like you can't like we always say, man. You can't have back-to-back drafts where your first round picks just don't hit. Like you can't have 2 empty drafts, like legitimately empty drafts in a row. That's what the Hawks had.
And especially with the CBA.
That's
Like,
what really kills your ascent, man, right? Because you need those young guys, like, because when you hit,
I mean, it's like
you have a guy breaking out every year, right? Or at
I mean,
least getting
forget
better every
breaking
year.
out, bro.
You
Like
get a
these guys
30-year
aren't
player
playing
every year.
basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
You need
You
a
know,
guy
like
coming into
it's
his third
Jesus
year every
Christ.
year that's contributing.
Yeah. We got a guy who's coming to his 3rd year right now who hasn't done anything. We got a guy who will be coming to his 4th year if he didn't quit. And we got Jalen, obviously Zach, going into his 2nd year.
But like, just take
So,
Dyson for example, right? He
that's what I
got that
really hope they don't do.
experience and came into year 3, and he was ready to hit the ground running. And now he has a role that he can prepare for next season using all the experience he has. Kobe has no experience, doesn't know what his role is going to be, right? So he doesn't even know what exactly to prepare for. He's gonna work on a whole bunch of things, and then they're gonna be like, I need you to do this. Right. So he's gonna have wasted a whole bunch of time to have a small little role if he even has one. You know what I'm saying? So it's frustrating because we should have been able to build on what he is year after year, and he could be contributing in like what Cason Wallace was. When I was watching Cason Wallace defend Julius Randle for possessions and stuff, like someone told me that Kobe could be our Cason Wallace, and I'm like, Cason is so far ahead of what Kobe is able to do or was able to do when he was playing. Like, I don't know that he's catching that. He's going to have to make a big old leap right away to catch him.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't have the time or experience right now. That's the issue. And I mean, I don't know what the Hawks are gonna do right now with someone like Kobe, honestly, because I mean, I assume right now they're gonna keep him, but
Mm.
it's gonna be weird. I don't know, but if you ask me about the three pathways thing, it's interesting because realistically,
What's the most likely? That's the question you asked. Like, you
yeah,
phrase it
that
to yourself how
is,
you phrase it to.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. Let me follow my own rules. You're
Or
right.
realistic. I'm sorry. You said most
Real,
realistic.
most realistic. I think they're just gonna go all in on depth and hope Jalen stays healthy.
Mm.
I think they really do believe in that in their young core players. I don't think they really have shown like any real indication that they're gonna just move off or just trade any of them for a second option. And I know that we talked about, I mean, you guys talked about the DJ PTSD earlier, but I think the DJ PTSD thing is a thing in the front office, which is why they may have been scared of certain big moves earlier or trying to attempt those big moves. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just went all in depth, all four depths, excuse me, for
I don't
just
even think it's. I don't even think it's DJ PTSD as much as it is DJ. We don't have the assets because
yeah,
we traded for DJ.
exactly.
But like, you have like the same number of assets right now, to be fair, that you
Yeah,
had
basically.
around-ish the time that you traded for DJ, around-ish. The difference is most not even you're in the midst of not having the assets that you gave up in that deal.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Um, so if you give, unless you're gonna give up the assets, if we're gonna do this again, if we're gonna trade, where are we? 26 and 27. So what are we gonna do? Trade 29, 31, and then a swap somewhere in there again for, round two of 20-point score. I think that's realistic. I'm not gonna lie. Like that, the rankings of their realism literally is backwards. Like,
Yeah.
they're probably gonna stand pat, and then it's probably a small gap to the 20-point score thing because I think they could find a deal that they don't hate for a 20, like somebody who's averaged 20 points per game in the past like 3 years.
I mean,
That's pretty possible, huh?
I was about to say, who would you think that guy could be potentially?
Mm,
Because
I'm
I
not in
don't.
love with every name, bro. Yeah, I'm not in love with every name.
I was
Not
gonna
even
mention
one.
someone like Jalen Green.
Oh God,
Yeah.
no.
uh
$30 million to come off the bench.
oh, it's 30 million. I thought it was. Let me actually
Isn't
check.
it? It wasn't it 3-1-10?
Uh, Jalen Green contract. Let me look this up.
I was literally just on more spot right now. Where are you, Rockets? Jalen Green makes
Oh yeah,
it's
you're right.
33, 36, 36.
Okay, oh,
Ew.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely
Nope,
not.
nope, no,
Absolutely not.
no. God,
Nah. But I mean, RJ Barrett is a name that's come up in rumors.
Star J. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, like
Star J.
the sell is physical driver. The flip side is like, ugh, it's RJ Barrett, you know.
Yeah.
It's just not a great decision maker. Like, not super high IQ. Like, fall asleep on defense more than like anybody I've ever met in basketball ever. So it's
Kaminga.
he, downhill driver, same thing. No
Yeah.
midi, or yeah, I guess he does have a low midi. Same thing, no midi, or shooter. You know, like driver, not initiator. At least RJ can like actually initiate, like competent, better than anybody not named Trey on the Hawks.
I mean, maybe. I mean, we could use that. I guess. I mean, not. I guess. I mean, we
I mean,
could
no,
use
no,
I
that.
mean,
no, I mean,
RJ
like,
is has 20-point per game scoring seasons.
So,
2, I think. You know,
off the bench.
like I think like you know what's his role? Wing scorer, right? Like you do that if you
Inside out
slashing.
scorer.
You're funny, shading. Like you're just gonna take these guys anywhere. Yeah, that. And he fit like outside of like the midfield markers, like he fits what we like to do. Like he likes to get out in transition. He's a really good transition scorer. He makes the simple pass. He's not gonna do anything too extra, but you know, it's one of those things where if he can settle into the system and like we can like I think we could build a second unit that like really tailors to his strengths. And if that's possible, as long as you can, and this is the this is the funny part, is you don't want him to dribble too much.
God.
Right? But it's kind of like Dre. It's funny that they were drafted.
Nah,
that
that's
he was
literally.
drafted right
I
after him.
was literally about to say that.
Actually,
It's
I
kinda
have
like Dre.
Parker.
But
I
it's
have
not
one.
nearly as bad.
I was just thinking of he moves kind of like Julius Randle, but without like all the extra muscle and size. Like he's the same level.
Yeah,
of
guard
stiff.
Randall. He's guard Randall.
Like,
Guard
Yes.
Randall.
Yeah, guard Randall. That's actually great. That's pretty accurate. Free throw rate. Like it worked in college because I just ran over everybody and there was nothing any like future
Yeah, he's
accountant in
6'8"
the
and strong.
ACC
Like
could
you
do
can't
with me.
stop that in college.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with RJ, who was just like 6'5" and strong.
Yeah, exactly. I was
You
talking about
know?
RJ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so we're agreeing. Yeah, like he's on the list. Can you think of you got anybody else? Any 20-point per game score? Like Cam Johnson almost got there, but he doesn't count because he just doesn't fill the initiator role.
Yeah. I can't.
It's not a driver; it's just a shooter.
I was about to say
tough.
Benedict Mathurin. I don't think they're gonna trade him.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I don't think he's a 20-point per game scorer anyway.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
It's really unfortunate because if you're like really trying to bargain shop that role, the guy to get would have been Brandon Ingram or Pascal. Like that's like literally those are like right at the bottom, right tier of like that level. It's frustrating.
That's interesting.
You can bet on a guy that like was a third option that might go up. I mean, you guys interested in Austin Reeves or Michael
Austin
Porter Jr.
Reeves to be what role? You know?
No, I'm just no. That's what I was saying. I mean, that's the. I don't know who else it would be. It's very complicated. Like RJ is one of those guys. That's why I would go.
I guess I have to go. I guess I literally. I'll just avoid
Andrew
that tier
Wiggins
altogether.
also. Yeah.
He said, "I'm going to avoid that tier altogether and go to the multi-time All-Star tier."
Yeah.
Yeah. When we all, brother. It's much easier to find a good basketball player that's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Though I mean, I do think Andrew Wiggins in number 2 role could give you some of that faux 2 stuff. He can do the things, and look the part. But he's in Miami, and I don't know if it's hard to get guys out of Miami, due to Pat Riley and due to Miami. So
I was gonna say this. He's a guard. Payne Pritchard.
No.
Okay.
Too expensive for the size of the role.
But he will be the best backup point guard we will ever get. ever.
That's true, but
He'd be up there.
way too overpaid for the role.
I know. I mean, listen. Okay, that's true. Okay, all right.
I do
mean,
like
I-
Malik
I
Monk
wish I could.
just because
Yeah.
I don't even know if
Ooh,
he's like
brother.
that great, but I know I just like him.
Yeah, explosive guard, lob threat, but also like can
Oh,
play
did
the
y'all
other
mention
side with the
DeMar
pass
for
and push it.
the cheap 20 point per game
I
guys?
absolutely did not, brother. I don't even know why we're mentioning that. Did
All right,
not
never
mention
mind. I won't say
DeMar.
the name again.
Ooh,
Yeah, he
I
would
hate
be
that
one
you
of
did
those
that, brother. You
guys.
hate me.
Um,
You hate me just for doing that. All
oh,
right, let's
man.
look at the. I'm gonna look at. Okay, what are we starting at? Is it 20 and up?
20 and
points
up.
per game. Man?
At this point,
Sure.
we'll look at multi-time
That's a
all
good benchmark.
stars.
No. Okay.
I
I'm
mean,
just looking
the
at
list.
like
What? How many guys
Or
is on the list? What, 30
20
maybe now?
or
okay.
just 20 point
The
per game
lowest
scores.
scoring 20 point per game score in the NBA is legitimately Austin Reeves.
Yep, told you.
So it's Austin Reeves, then going up here. Austin Reeves, Pascal Siakam, not available. Miles Bridges, ugh. Kobe White. It's a lot of money in my backcourt. Jordan Poole, terrorism. Darius Garland. No, Jalen Green. We already talked about that. Then we got RJ Barrett, right? Then we got Jamal Murray, another guard. Jalen Williams.
I do like Jalen Williams, but they're not giving you Jalen Williams. That's the only issue.
I mean,
I've said a few times
it.
though, if they don't sign Chet and J-Dub both this summer because they like want to do something and like load up and try to win again and catch themselves with both of those guys going to RFA, I am overpaying one of them. I don't even care which one, to be honest, but I'm overpaying one of them.
You know, it's funny. It's as crazy as it's gonna sound. It's gonna piss people off. Here we go again. Like they're gonna pay the big. They're gonna pay the big because
Yeah,
one, he's probably not going to cost as much, and two,
that's why they chose Ibaka.
Exactly. He's more. He's a rare archetype.
He's very rare. 7-footer
Like-
that's and he blocks the shot. He's so productive as a shot blocker, and his range is crazy. And yeah, it's
It's
easier
a 3-point
to
shooter
find
and a shot blocker, by the
than
way.
to find that.
Desmond Bain at 19.2. Ill.
Colin Sexton.
Norman Powell,
Norman
Jaren Jackson.
Come on. Okay.
Norman Powell coming off the bench.
Norman Powell would be a Hawks type signing.
Yeah, that would be good.
At age 31, right on time.
Good vet. That's what we
Jaren
need.
Jackson. Jalen Brown.
To the Norman Powell real quick, I don't know if I've said it how much on the pod, but like the whole concept of getting your Chris Middleton is, I think Norman Powell would be a Chris Middleton. He kind of qualifies as one of those now. Sorry.
Good for him. Proud of him. Like,
hey,
that's real though.
Yeah,
that's real though.
Yeah.
Like we do need that guy. We do need that guy. We definitely need that guy. Then we're getting a little spicy. It gets. I'm at 20. It's crazy. You don't realize like 22. 22 is an interesting threshold.
Yeah.
Lowest 22 is Jaren Jackson, Jaylen Brown, DeMar DeRozan, James Harden, Zach LaVine. I think that's the highest guy. Oh no, there's other guys who haven't made All NBA because I see Tyler Hero up here.
Well, he just got the ball a lot.
Yeah. Where was I? Tyler Hero. Then Donovan Mitchell, Franz. I'll take Franz.
Yeah.
Trae Young.
I think
Wow, Trae and LeBron averaged about the same amount of points. They're right next to each other this year. That's crazy.
Dang.
Now we're inching into the top 10. Says Trae was 14. So Cat, Steph, Dame, Devin Booker. Devin Booker, anybody? Jalen Brunson, blah blah blah. Anthony Edwards, guys we can't get.
Yeah, I mean you stopped listening to guys we can't get a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm saying are we trying to get a 15-point scorer, try to make him a 20-point scorer? No.
I mean, maybe.
Well, it depends, right? If you're trying to do that guy needs to be 22 and
short list, brother.
Yeah, I know.
Benedict Mathurin. I guess that's your guy. Christian Brown's 23. Josh Giddey, boo.
Christian Brown wants $30 million from what I hear. So
Quentin Grimes, 24.
Quentin Grimes wouldn't be a solid third guard for this team. He's not your second option, but like when we're talking about the depth option, right, and maybe spending your money wisely, that's a guy that you could take a bet on to solidify your bench. So.
Wow, no, I'm looking at these guys are ranked by points per game. Now we're in the Nas Reed, Dyson Daniels, Fred Van Fleet duo trio. I mean, it's crazy. That's crazy. Dylan Brooks, Amin Thompson, and Fred Van Fleet all scored between 14 and 14.1 points per game.
Yeah, they had a really good team scheme.
Josh Hart available? They're breaking up the Nova boys? Too small.
They're bringing up the Nova boys. He's probably the one they keep, man. He's cheap.
That's true.
Najee Marshall's on my list from Dallas, but he makes $9 million.
But I mean, Josh Hart, is it? Yeah, but he's small and he's not that good at shooting though. So,
all right, well,
yeah, they can always put him on the bench.
I'll take Josh Hart.
I just got the Zaccharie Risacher, which means we've gone too far.
No. Grayson Allen
already acquired Zach.
Ugh. Old. Okay. Old, but like, yeah. Is he a free agent?
He also has gray hair. I mean, for a guard coming off your bench, that's not a free agent.
Hold on. Let me see. I don't think he is.
I don't think so either. I feel like he just got that deal, right?
Yeah, he did. He's signed until 20.
And how much is it a year? Let me see if I can stomach
15 million, 60 million, 18 million, and then a 19 million player option.
Yeah, what I'll say, if you're looking for a guy that's like gonna give you, I would look for Norm Powell, right? If we're trying to do like we're brainstorming option 2, right? The cheaper guys, like it's a Norman Powell that could score a little bit today, and you can maybe get him on a short deal, so it's not a crazy commitment, and then the Hawks could look to do something else after that. Or you try to do another second draft and try to find a guy like Dyson who is a scorer that just needs the ball a little bit more. And it's not going to be someone that averages like almost 20, because that guy's getting the ball. It's going to be someone that like you wouldn't really expect. That kind of needs to be featured and can get there. It's just going to be tough for them. I can't get anything past you, can I? That's not exactly who I meant, but a guy like that.
Yeah, a guy like that.
A guy like that. Second draft guy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's the Hawks are in a tough spot. They're in a good spot, but decisions have to be made.
Yeah, getting out of the middle is the hardest thing, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's funny. That's the thing about the middle, right? To get out of the middle, you have to string together multiple good off seasons, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And last season was a good off season. So if you follow this up with a bad off season, you're just gonna undo all the good you did last year. So it starts with drafting well, and then it goes into taking care of your roster and putting together a team that makes sense. Now, I want to see something here because I haven't really done the math yet. But while I have it, as far as guys who are under on the roster next year, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 guys under contract, and one of them is Dominic Barlow, so who barely counts. So you got 2 picks. You could re-sign Karras or Larry Nance. That would put you at 14 and 15, and or you can sign somebody MLE stuff, whatever. But it'll just be interesting to see what they do with the guys that they have. If I'm the Hawks, I think if we're only going for this 20-point scorer tier, I think you can't be trying to trade anybody named Trey, Zach, Jalen and Yeka. I'm not gonna lie. Like anybody else could. Oh, and Dyson. Basically, the starting group, the presumptive starting
Yeah,
group. You just,
yeah.
The core
I wouldn't
five.
trade it.
The
Yeah,
core five
basically.
have to stay.
Yeah, the core five have to stay, right? Like, but when you look at it that way, you have the Larry Nance expiring. You've got the Clint Capella, the Karis LeVert, signing trade options. George Niang, Terrence Mann's 15 million, right? And Kobe at 4.5. Everything else is sweetener money at 2 million or so. So
hmm
you've got that pool of players and you've got this pool of picks, and that's what 1, 2, 3, 4 over the next 3 years. If you can turn 2 players and one of those picks into a 20-point per game scorer, you do that,
Yeah, especially without taking
right?
from your five, right? Because
Mhm.
you're trying to amplify the group the best way possible, kind of maximizing, and there's like the value plays for each option, right? So there's no one way to take a step forward. Just depends on the step they're trying to take, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, like in terms of 1, 2, or 3 steps forward, right? Like if they're trying to like make a big old leap, you really gotta make a big move and be willing to risk um not succeeding, right? That happens. But
Yeah, that's
um
why it's called
like
risk.
look at the Sixers, right? They like really thought they're like we're gonna everybody's expiring at the same time. They like they let everybody go
Blew
so they
their
could sign
whole
Paul
load.
George. Yeah,
Yeah.
they did, and then boom, right, number 3 in the draft. So
Man, lucky bastards.
you got you got to be willing to you got to risk it to get the biscuit, as they say. So
Yeah, man, and we risked it once, and that's why they're scared right now.
yeah,
But
but you
it's
can't be
like,
afraid to fall in love again, man.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people have said that the Hawks shouldn't have tried to beat the Pacers price. No, the Raptors price for Brandon Ingram. I
Mm,
gotta say, I resent that.
that one's
I
frustrating.
understand that he was expiring, and they probably weren't going to try to extend him at the price point that they wanted. And blah 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 blah. I guess so. I guess that's true. But man, would it have been fun, man? Like,
Yeah.
man, would we be fun? You wouldn't have been able to tell me nothing right now
Yeah, this draft would be even
because
more fun because you already had
that
Brandon.
trade, like, there's no chance that trade was gonna like not include anybody from the core five. Maybe Onyeka, maybe, but
hmm Yeah,
man,
it would have been a really, really, really fun trade down
oh
there.
my gosh, you would have had. I don't even want. I'm sorry. Yeah,
But
I
I got
mean,
honestly,
myself worked up.
what
Got
I'm
myself
looking
worked up.
forward to this year is having a solid draft, and then July 4th we getting that big Z purchase. Zion's coming to Atlanta.
I don't know.
You're coming to Atlanta for what? To meet with his lawyer?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yes, because
Yeah.
he's closing on a house, son.
Uh,
Oh wow,
I
good,
don't think that's gonna happen.
good
No,
say. That's crazy.
I don't think that's
No
happening.
comment.
Yeah. But before we close this out, does anyone have any final comments before we end this pod?
Stop being rude to Anthony Edwards because he lost to one of the best teams to like ever play
Oh,
basketball. With
Yeah, I
Julius
mean he's
Randle as his number
23,
2.
right?
Like, Julius Randle looked good for a while, but like, let's be for real. We knew it was gonna happen eventually. It's
That
Julius Randle.
team wrapped up Joker, so you know what I'm saying. Julius Randle was light work.
Yep. What he said.
But yeah, no, I did actually like what I saw from Jaden McDaniels some in that run. He flashed a little bit. I don't
Yeah,
think
man.
he's ever going to be
Somebody should
enough
have
for
traded for him
them.
when that hand was broken. But they
But
believed in him the whole way.
yeah, they really like him, and for good reason. I think he's going to be a nice player for them. He's going to be someone you probably want to keep next to Ant for as long as you can, and then try to build around that. But yeah, this is just kind of natural steps for a young team. Like you get knocked around a couple times in the playoffs, and then figure out how to make those adjustments. Everybody's got to grow, coach, players, and you gotta see what you can get for Julius Randle. Honestly,
Dang, what was the question? Oh, do we
it
want
was
to
final
close with
thoughts.
anything?
final
Final
thoughts,
thoughts?
basically.
Oh man. Hawks, if you're listening, honestly, if you're listening, man, I'm hearing some terrible things, honestly. Get it together. Go
Yeah,
Hawks. That's it.
I also heard those things, and this goes back to our draft pod. No small guards. All right.
Please, don't be weird. Don't be weird.
You said don't be weird.
Don't be weird. Don't be
We
weird.
really need a good draft. This is an important summer for the Hawks. I think we've talked about this. We've said this
Okay.
every summer.
All right.
But
Okay.
Oh my God.
One last thing,
Well,
because I have
let's
to.
say one more.
I have
Got
to,
one
I have
more
to
in
put
me.
the caveat. I have to do the caveat.
Got one more thing in me.
I understand the idea of drafting a guard, generally speaking, because if that guard hits, especially early, like if that guard hits like 30 games into their rookie year, and this is pick 13. A guy at pick 13 could be an NBA player in 30 games. It wouldn't surprise me, right? A good NBA player.
Mhm.
That'd be really good for the team. Somebody who could just run the offense. Like I get the I like it. I get it. I get it. But man, the value at 13 for a guy that's going to play 20 minutes a game, like if you're going to play 20 minutes in a 20-point blowout, like you know what I mean? It's just like, ugh, yikes, you know. That's all. Go Hawks.
My final thoughts are, I
Big
don't have
Z.
any.
Big Z and Big Z?
No,
Or is Big Z getting traded for Big Z?
no, I'm not. I'm not good. I'm not for
What you mean?
Zion.
You was team. Oh wow! You see how they switch up on you?
No,
Ooh, with
no
conviction.
Zion.
With
No,
conviction. Yeah, he does not need to be in this city. Um,
but
yeah.
I hope everyone have a good night,
Me too.
good morning,
Mhm.
good afternoon, or whatever you are in the
Good
universe.
afternoon, good morning, good night. Time for more
And
life.
we hope you have a great whatever day it is, and we will see you all next time for the next Hard Knock Hawks episode.
Yep. Enjoy every day that ends in Y, folks.
Thank
Go
you.
Hawks.
Ah.
Ah,
See you later.
goodness gracious, Asia Wilson.